listening to the Ball Talk podcast with me, Ryan Bailey. This podcast is brought to you by Adapt Athletic Performance and Therapy. Head over to Instagram and give them a follow at adapt_clinic. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe or follow button as well. Without further ado, let's get straight into the podcast. This is episode number 64 of the Ball Talk podcast, as always brought to you by Adapt Athletic Performance and Therapy. And today we are in Canada, and I'm here with a man. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Johnny Tracey, famed for not many things, but sure, we're here anyways. That's the main thing.
You have a big fan base after this now.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
So first question, Johnny, that I try and put to everyone at the start of a podcast, is something we spoke about going down to Limerick in the car a few times before. Dream concert, 3 different acts, your golden ticket, who have you got?
I'd say the first one has always been the same, and it's Kanye West, because even I remember seeing a video from 2013, and how he gets so theatrical with it. Like, he was there wearing a mask for the first hour of the act, and then he'd be on a platform above the rest of the crowd. So he'd definitely be number one, no question. This is all time.
All time, yeah, dead or alive, whatever.
It was only there last week. I was watching Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen movie,
yes.
And Jesus Christ, I'd almost thrown Queen just for after watching that. It looked unbelievable. A third act though.
It's the third spot that's a tricky one,
Yeah.
you're going to think of 4 or 5 different people you could put in there,
I'm going anywhere from Calvin Harris, just because the amount of good tunes he has. But Jesus Christ, would any man say no to a prime ABBA concert?
Yeah, well, you're in the right fucking parish, anyways.
Absolutely. Jeez, yeah. So I'd say one of them was my 3.
Where's it going to be?
Oh Christ. If not in Banadabbey Hall, I'd say throw them in the O2.
No, they have Boys on in Band Hall.
The which?
They have Boys on there.
Did they?
Yeah.
Jeez.
If you go in the door, and there's a poster on your left hand side. I think it's either on the wall on the left or kind of behind you on the left. There's a poster. Boys Own did one of their first tours now at Banada. To a disco,
How long ago was that?
we're talking early 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't want to be.
You wouldn't think it. I'll have to get a picture of when it is.
Absolutely.
So, when are we now? We're what? First week of August, second week of August now. So your summer, you took a notion when everyone was kind of restricting their movements. You hopped on a plane.
Because it started back last Christmas, because there was 3 of us, and this was back when the cases weren't too bad, and we said, here, frig this, we're going away next summer. So myself, Conor Gavigan and Cara Veazey, the 3 of us planned out this big elaborate month-long tour of Europe, where we had all the flights, accommodations, we had everything sorted. And sure, about 2 days after we'd finished that, that was right around Christmas, and sure, everything went into lockdown. Then we had 8,000 cases a day.
Yeah.
And so we were just sure, that's gone, there's no hope at all. And then around April, I started thinking about it again. I rang Connor one day, and I was like, here, let's just find somewhere. So our 2 factors where we're going is hot weather and a place that can speak English, because we're not here to learn a new language. We're just here to get away. So we had places like Ayia Napa and Cyprus, and then Split was a big one, and then all over Greece. And then so there was originally 4 of us, but only 3 of us ended up going. But I think the issue was that I must have emailed about 600 places just trying to find a job, just going through TripAdvisor, 1 to 300, and I had a few interviews with places, but there was nothing. And so eventually we made the call, we're going over regardless. So Connor was actually in Spain from March on,
Okay.
so we joined him 4 days after we finished college. So we were back home and then straight out again. And we were in Spain for 3 weeks, and then Croatia until about 10 days ago.
Serious?
Yeah, it's mad. And even Spain, I think Spain was weird, because we expected when we got to Croatia it'd be very much everything was meant to be closed.
Yeah.
So we thought it'd be, we get jobs 50 hours a week, whatever, wake up, go to the gym, work, go to bed, that'll be it.
Yeah.
So in Spain we were a bit, I wouldn't say reckless, but we were very much here, we'll get the partying out of our system. And
yeah,
then,
so for the first few weeks it was a holiday, and then you were like,
Yeah,
well,
very much
you're
so.
still on holiday for the rest of the summer, but you're working as well.
Yeah. Oh no, when we went to Spain, we were in Connor's uncle's house, just outside Alicante, and that whole time First 2 weeks were very quiet, like, because in the town we were in, it was quite a quiet town. But then we went to Alicante City for the last few days, and then we took advantage of Alicante.
Yeah. And what was it like though? Like when we were even here doing podcasts, doing it outdoors because of COVID. Like we have to keep our distance, stuff like that. When you like over here, like everyone obviously with COVID restriction movements, all that sort of stuff. Like over in Spain, first off, was it a different world over there?
It was weird because it was actually stricter in Alicante than it was in Ireland, I'd say. Because even if you were walking on the streets anywhere, you'd have to have a face mask on,
Right.
and it wouldn't be like, oh, we encourage it. Like people would give you stares, people would say to you, have your mask on. Like this is walking when no one's near you.
Right.
And obviously, the issue kind of was, like we obviously followed, but with the heat, if it's 30 degree weather, and you have the mask on, geez, like your face just burning the whole time. But so that like Alicante was quite strict, and even in the different pubs, like it was very much table service, or it was outside, and so the bits that did go on were on the beach. Like officially, Alicante was as strict as Ireland is now, if not more. Croatia though was a whole different animal.
fish,
Like the difference between Alicante and Split was huge, because even like Split would be the biggest tourist spot in Croatia by a country mile. But now I think part of it was because I'd say half of Croatians don't believe in COVID. Not that they don't believe in COVID, but I think they don't believe in vaccines. They don't believe in social distancing. They think the government's corrupt. Okay. So I think that's probably one of the reasons that there always seemed to be pressure on the government to open up. And even like we arrived, and the place we were staying was like actually right in the city centre, and we were walking on the beach our first night, and there was like an open air club where we would end up actually working for a while. But there was an open air club that looked like Longitude in its prime, like with DJ and 150 people just stacked around. So we were so surprised seeing that, and I think all of us kind of knew, Jesus, we thought it'd be a quiet summer, but it won't be anything like that at all. So, and even Croatia, like you wouldn't have to wear a mask on the streets. It's almost like you're encouraged to wear it in shops. Like if no one would say it to you if you didn't, which was weird. And majority of them aren't vaccinated either, because like we actually tried to get vaccinated in Croatia, and they were told no, you need Croatian health insurance, but no, they're throwing out vaccines there because no one will get them. So they've way too many for the demand, and obviously compared to Ireland here, like sure, what was that like back home
here, like well, when you compare it to Croatia, like it was different, because like we had, let's see, so we come out of college, what was it, May time? It was May. Mid-May. Yeah. So from then on, like things did open up. Things started opening up again. Pubs opened up a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago now. Outdoor, and it's kind of phased back. I know a lot of people are kind of, there's different sectors and different parts of business and that they were not happy with how things were opening up, but like it was like, I think Ireland was one of the last countries in Europe to open up certain parts of industry, like. But it was what you'd kind of expect though, just like cases had gone down, now they're gone back up again. Like there was always going to be a second wave or third wave or fifth wave, whatever we're on now.
I can't imagine we're done with the waves either, like.
Yeah.
But
never mind COVID. Won't talk about COVID now. Yeah. Go back to well, I suppose sticking on it. And when you were in Spain, were you under curfews or anything?
Yeah, and actually it got us in trouble a few times. Like we did 2 trips to Alicante. We did one for 5 days and one for like the last 3 days we were in Spain. And in the first 5 days we were there, we had 3 different run-ins with police, and like one of them was only 2 of them were meant to do with the curfew. Like the first night, like clubs, or if you even call them that, close at 12.
Yeah.
And from then the police would just sweep the streets. And so there was one night anyway, like we had just left and we were starving, like, you know, after a night out you get your Supermax, whatever. So there was a Taco Bell a minute down the road. So we walked in and we tried to order, and they were like, no, we're closed. And we were like, shite, whatever. So we left again, and waiting for us were like six police officers just waiting outside, patted us all down, gave everything to us. And that happened twice. And another night, so there was a strict curfew. As soon as the pubs closed, you had to be home.
What time are we talking?
12, so midnight. So like it wasn't even like, oh, you're causing fuck at 3:30 in the morning. Like 12 o'clock, they're sweeping the streets, and you have to have a proper excuse if you're walking home. But that was actually another thing, and it was a big difference between, I'd say, Croatia and Spain. The police in Spain, absolutely ruthless. Like we just seem to have awful bad luck with them. Like even they don't take well to tourists at all. This is an awful bad story on the on, I think it was our second night in Alicante, and we got food down at a restaurant by the beach, and Connor and Cara both got pizzas, and Connor's very specific of, I was on a margarita pizza with just pepperoni, nothing else, just pepperoni. The waiter was like, yeah, no problem. Food came out 20 minutes later, and Connor's pizza had like pepperoni and had mushrooms and it's something else. Connor was like, could I asked for just pepperoni, I don't want any of these mushrooms, whatever. And they were like, the young waiter got the manager anyway, like the owner, and he was like, no, you have to eat it. It's a frozen pizza, like we can't take it off. The pizzas are frozen, we don't make them, you have to eat it. And Connor was like, I asked for only pepperoni. And then Connor made the good move, I think, and we all backed up the story of he's allergic to mushrooms. Just to be like, Connor was like, I can't eat them, I'm allergic to mushrooms. And the guy was like, look, you ordered it, it says mushrooms on the menu, you have to eat it. And Connor was like, well, I'm not paying for it if I don't eat. And we were all like, yeah, why should he pay if he's not going to eat it? And he was like, I will ring the police if you don't, if you don't pay me now. And we were like, okay. So we were like, okay, ring the police, because like, what are they going to say? You can't be allergic to mushrooms. So what you call it? He leaves then and comes back 5 minutes later, and he's like, right, you're paying now. And fair to Cara, he was like, I thought you said you rang the police. There's no police here. And he was, because your man was bluffing, like Cara just called his bluff.
Yeah.
And he was there like, right, so, and he calls the police in front of us. And I think the problem was Connor obviously isn't allergic to mushrooms. So the issue was
that's the main moral of the story.
halfway through being like, I can't eat this, I'm allergic to mushrooms, Cara's pizza also with mushrooms, and Connor goes and grabs a slice off Cara's and takes a big bite out of it, and then your man's like, you just ate a slice. And then we were all like, oh, we gave some excuse anyway. And so the police did come, and we were expecting one, maybe two, because it's about a pizza and mushrooms. About 6 or 7 of them come around and surround our table, and we're there trying to explain what's going on, like he's allergic, he can't eat. And they're just talking over us in Spanish to the owner. And they took our passports. They took down our passports. They said, if you don't pay right now, we're taking you to jail.
Oh,
and we were trying to be pizza. Like, this is about mushrooms. But we eventually, I don't think Connor had to pay, but me and Cara both had to pay for our food, and we left. And that was they were only 2 of our run-ins out of the 3 in a space of 5 days. Now we were a bit stupid, fair enough, but compared to here, like they'd be like, just go away, like.
Yeah. And was it nice pizza or like?
Oh jeez, I wouldn't recommend
it. You wouldn't go back.
I'd give it a bad review, but I couldn't tell you the name of it.
There's definitely, you walk in, there's just like 3 mugshots of you, Cara and Connor on the wall.
Yeah, we're barred for life. But yeah, no, like, so there was a curfew in Spain. As far as Croatia, there was no sign of one. Like after the clubs close at 12 again, some nights the nightclubs will be open, and that's till 5 a.m. and that's like, right. They just let you at it, or else everyone would go down to the beach. Like in our first week in Croatia, there was one night and there was we estimated about 3,000 people on the beach, because the beach is huge. Now majority of them are Croatians blaring Croatian tunes, but still, to see that many people, it was I don't even know what the word is. We were just enamored by it, like.
Yeah. And what were the tunes like, Croatian sort of stuff? Buzzy enough, I'd say, is it?
Sure, some of the foreign tunes are good, like the French World Cup song. They brought it back for the Euros.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they played that so much at the clubs, and that was a great song. There was a great song from Spain. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but as far as Croatian tunes, I wouldn't recommend them. They're fine, but they're only fine, like.
Yeah. So what happened? So going from, so you did 2-3 weeks in Spain, and then over to Croatia. Do you bother getting? Did you miss flights or something?
Oh, no, even worse. This was awful. So our last night, we had a very late night on the Saturday, and our COVID tests, our PCR tests to leave were on the Sunday. And so it was like 1 o'clock, and our test was at 1:30. So I was literally putting on my shoes to leave, and Connor walks in and he goes, check your dates for the test. And the test was the day before. So we'd completely, and our flight was the next morning at like 7 a.m. So we were like, we're so screwed if we can't get, and it's a Sunday, so everything's closed.
Yeah.
So we went down to the nearest testing centre, and it's closed. And I'm there trying to ring the airport, because you know how the airport have like the emergency ones.
Yes.
And I'm just like, they're just talking to me in Spanish, and I just don't understand. And by an absolute miracle, like an absolute guardian angel, this guy walks by and he sees Carr's GA t-shirt as jersey, and he comes up and he goes, and he's from Belfast. He goes, is that an Irishman I see? And the Carr's like, yeah. And this man, he's Irish, and but he's fluent in Spanish. And he comes over, and we're like, can you help us? And not only does he ring us to the airport, they're like, yeah, you can come here and try it out. Not only does he do that, he brings us to the bus stop to get to the airport because we didn't have a clue. Now, what was weird about it is this guy was so tapped. Like people were at like staring. Like he was. I'd say he was.
You're on camera.
I don't even. Oh, I didn't know what I said. I wasn't even paying attention. I said he.
Oh, go on, you're good.
But no, he was a bit. He wasn't 100% there.
Okay.
But he saved us anyway, and we got to the airport and they told us no. So it's 4:00 and we're like, yeah, we're not going anywhere. And we just happened to see a sign, like we walked by one, and it has a number for you get your results in 2 hours, €150 in and out. So we get a taxi to the nearest town, which is like 20 minutes away, and we get a test there, and we get our negative results. So we end up spending almost €300 on tests to leave the country.
Okay.
Never mind the flights, never mind the accommodation. But we got the results and we were able to leave the next morning. But it was about the most stressful 7 hours or so. Yeah. Because all we were doing was chasing our tails, running around like.
And obviously got there in the end. Sound. Once you get there, the relief, like you're like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But and even we got very lucky because leaving Ireland, you needed a reason. Back then, it was like only essential travel. Yeah. So we thankfully had an email saying we were working abroad for both Spain and Croatia, so we were able to get through. But and even it's very much what guard you get. There's 2 guards. One of them was turning away Spanish people left and right, and the other one was just an open door, like he was letting everyone through. So thankfully we got the sound one, or else, sure, who knows what would have happened. Like.
Yeah. So you go over to Croatia then, and had you had the work sorted? Did you have the work sorted for Croatia before you went out, or did you sort it in Spain?
That was the game plan, but we couldn't have anything confirmed. A lot of places were like, maybe 2 weeks after you land, we'll have work for you, but we can't guarantee you work from day one. So we showed up and we didn't have work, and we went straight to the library. Myself and Karen must have printed out about 40 CVs each, and we did everywhere. Like we went into every restaurant, bar, and ice cream shop, and to try to get any work, but there was nothing. And I think the reason we got lucky was the place that we'd been going out, and it's called Crosby's. We went on one day, and they were always hiring for. They were always hiring like promoters, like flying people, getting them in. Yeah. And so we went up to the owner, and he knew us, and we were like, here, listen, do you need 2 Irishmen to help continue? He was like, absolutely, you start tonight. And great so we worked for 3 weeks, and it was unreal. It was great.
So were you going out like free shot brochures, stuff like that? And
yeah, pretty much. So we'd go out. Like the nice thing was we didn't have to like give up any time. So we'd be going out to the beach in the morning anyway for a few hours, and then while you're on the beach, just if you see any groups of tourists, just flyer them, get to know them. And the nice thing is, because you're Irish, if you just say you're Irish, people just like you automatically, which was so handy. And then if they came, then we got a bit of commission off them. And then we obviously, I think the big thing was we got free drinks then for the night. So we were basically and then once you're in, your job is to go around introducing people to other people, just getting.
Oh, right, okay.
So going around chatting shy, to be honest. Yeah. Which suited us to the T.
Yeah.
So that was our job, and then we were allowed to drink for free then for the whole time. So we got very lucky with the place we were working.
So did they expect you to do any sort of bar work as well, or was it just like you're bringing people into the place and we saw you earlier here, these ones are in here as well, and just getting them?
We asked him one of the days if we could do bar work, but he was like, no, he only hires girls to do the bar, which is whatever. But I would have been happy out doing the bar, because even there were some nights you'd be going out, and obviously you wouldn't be. We weren't drinking 7 days a week. You couldn't. Yeah. And there'd be nights where you'd be kind of standing around with your glass of apple juice, whatever it is, and like almost waiting for 11 o'clock to hit so you can go home. But if you're behind the bar, then at least you're busy.
Yeah. It's all like shots and shorts over there though. Like you wouldn't see a man going around with a pint at 11 o'clock at night.
Never now. What was good about the place we were working, and I think it's great about them, is there was no drinks watered down. You know, like in a lot of tourist spots, they water. But even if you got a beer, you'd be getting a full can. Yeah. They'd be opening the vodka bottles in front of you, pouring them in.
Out abroad though, it's they don't even do measures. Like.
Oh, absolutely not. Sure, like it'd be there was 3 bar ladies, I suppose, and we like every time we went in for a drink, we always went to the same one because she'd be pouring doubles for singles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very much just like they pour as much as they want to pour, but that was the thing, and even the place we work and how it worked was it was an open bar, so you pay once, you pay like 15-20 euro depending on if you're a guy or girl, and it opens at 9 and you drink for free then until 11 as much as you can stomach.
Okay.
And then the party will go on till 12 and then they'll bring you onto the beach club. So it was very nice. It was literally, we wouldn't have to go in every time and be like, oh, we work here, like they all knew us. So we were so it was basically everyone there was always on a good buzz, because if you're there to drink as much as you can. That's the goal of it.
So he said so once the pub shuts, they bring you to the beach club then?
Yeah.
That's 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock, and then the beach club would then go on till about 5 a.m.
And is that like a bar down there and stuff like that, is it?
Yeah. Now that would remind you of a club abroad where like a vodka coke would cost about 7-8 euro. So the key was a lot of people would just drink all their drink beforehand and then go in and then just last the night.
Yeah.
But it was a fairly, like the club, it was only open because it was indoors, but it had these big glass windows, so technically it was called open air. So like indoor nightclubs weren't allowed to open, but they were.
Gotcha.
But the nice thing was it was quite, I wouldn't say luxury, but it was upper tier, I suppose. So there'd be a lot of rich people that would go there and buy a big bottle of vodka with like in a bucket of ice, and they'd be having it. Means you can go over, and if you can chat your way, they'll always offer you a drink. So if you really wanted a drink and you didn't want to spend €8, you'd be fine. Like.
So you go. So painting the picture now again, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 lads over in Croatia.
Yeah.
Drinking away on the beach, going to the gym, having the crack, and the Euros are on.
And the Euros were on, yeah. And like the place we were working, they had a huge screen where they'd be showing whatever, but they'd always show the Euros games. And but easily the highlight of the Euros was the Croatian versus Spain game. Because I don't know if you remember, it was it ended up 3-3 and went to extra time. But there was this big fan zone outside the stadium where there's about 300-400 Croatians. But all of us went, and we met about 8 or 9 UL nurses, and they all came with us. We met a few lads from Wicklow. They came with us. So there's a big group of Irish, and all of us were wearing our knockoff Luka Modric jerseys. And so we showed up anyway, and it was all outdoors. So we had a big one bench for the lot of us, and Spain went 3-1 up, and it was Croatia scored first. The place went wild, and Spain scored 3 times in a row, and it was the 80th minute, and everyone was kind of almost packing their bags. But then Croatia scored in the 81st minute, and suddenly so much life in the place. And when Croatia scored that third goal, I don't even know what the place just blew up. And myself, Connor, and one of the lads from Wicklow, the table, the 3 of us hopped on the table, and we were, as soon as up, everyone was just going mental. And as soon as we went up, the table started wobbling like it wasn't going to hold. Next thing, the whole table collapses. Myself and Keane, the lad from Wicklow, we hopped off and we're standing there. Connor's standing at the back, and by the time it lands, his leg just goes straight up and he goes pile driving the table.
Oh, jeez.
So the security come up to Connor anyway, and they're like, "You're paying for this. You're paying for this." And Connor's like, "Yeah, okay," because like, what are they're not going to do anything. Like,
he wouldn't pay for a pizza. I'll buy a new bench.
No, but it was unbelievable, and then even until Spain scored again in extra time. But I didn't even. None of us minded that Croatia went out. It was just for that 2-minute stretch of just everyone going mental. It was worth it, and even for the England games, it was always big because there'd always be one group of English, like normally English lads that were very vocal about English, and if they were playing the Danes, I remember the huge group of Danish people. And we were talking to the English boys, and all they were like is, I hope one of the Danish lads try to start something, and then we can all just go at them like
hooligans.
Absolutely. But even some of the videos, I'm not sure if you saw from after the final outside Wembley, where like people, like fans just run out, and it doesn't matter who they are, they're just getting absolutely not. Yeah.
Like they didn't even leave the stadium, like they were doing that.
Oh, absolutely. But so I don't like, no one felt any bit sorry for the English fans. But no, the Euros was class, and there were so many penalty shootouts. So even when France went out in penalties, the place was going crazy because so many French were out there. Because actually for the first maybe month and a half, there wasn't many Irish or English. It was all Dutch and Germans and French. So like all the teams that were good in the Euros, That's
a bit of a fan base in a way, like
absolutely
wherever you're going. Yeah.
absolutely. So there's like wherever you're watching the game, there's always a good buzz. Swedish fans were great. They were great. I remember. I'm not sure. I'm not actually not sure if any there wasn't a big group of them, but they were probably the most passionate. But the Euros was class abroad. And hopefully in 4 years' time we'll actually be able to go and into the stadiums and get a better look at it again.
Yeah, and the fact that you were there, like you're in Croatia and Croatia are in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when we went, when did we do the Leaving Cert? 2018 we did the Leaving Cert, and we went out. There was 6 of us went out. Myself, Connell, Keane, Oisin, Aaron, Connor went out to Liverpool. I think we did 5 days. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But we went the day we went. We landed there. Did we land there in the evening time or the daytime? I can't think. But let's say we landed there on a Monday morning, and England had played the night before.
Okay.
And then the day our flight left, we left in the morning, and England played Colombia on penalties that night.
Oh.
So we missed the time, space time we were there. England didn't play at all.
Yeah, so that's almost like the lull.
Yeah.
Between the
No,
games.
there was great games on. Like I think France Argentina was a good game that was on one of the days. Like there were some serious games on, but you'd want to be there though for the home country.
Spain, Colombia as well.
Spain, Colombia.
Or sorry, Spain, Colombia.
Or England, Colombia.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
But you had, because that was if I'm right in saying it, the whole thing, this whole saga about England and penalties.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And that was the first time they'd won a game on penalties in years, the Colombia game. So the place would have gone mental. Concert Square in Liverpool. It's just like it's nearly like the square in Tower, but it's an actual square. And you just got pubs all around it, like a nightclub and stuff like that. It would have gone absolutely crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm trying to imagine what it was like in Croatia. But you've got the weather and that as well out there.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like the fan zone, I'm exactly like that, where everyone, it doesn't matter who you are, you're hugging the man beside you. Like, it was an unbelievable atmosphere, as I'd say, as Liverpool Square would have been there.
Yeah.
It was unreal.